Good morning, digital studiers. This is Friday of week 1 in the summer 2023 term of DGST 101, and I'm going to record this short video here to wrap things up for the week, to go over everything that you should have done by now and or could still be finishing and working on, and that's fine. So please make sure you watch the whole video here and don't miss anything. There's a lot going on this week, and there will be a lot going on next week too, so we want to make sure and get through all of these things as we can. So first of all, there's a number of tasks that you should have accomplished by now. Some of these are not assignments per se, but they are things that you should do because they will prepare you for things in the future, and also they will help you accomplish the learning goals for the class. So first of all, make sure you've joined our Discord server and actually use it, please. That's intended for you to have a conversation with each other and with me. We are not meeting in person, obviously, so a Discord server is a place where we can have a sense of community and share work and ask for help and all those sorts of things. So please make sure you're using it. Jump in there. There's a number of threads already. There's a number of channels for each of the different tasks and readings and modules. So please jump on that when you can. And it's an informal space, but an important one. So please use it when you can. All right, so the other things, of course, that you should have done by now, you should have registered a domain with UMW Domains. And just to remind you, we're using UMW Domains, which is a system. Sorry, I'm switching some things out live here. This is something where we're using the UMW domain system, the domain of one's own. So the right side on this window over here. So not site.umw, but domain of one's own. You should go down here and sign up for a domain of one's own. This has to do with registering a domain name. If you are unsure about how to do that for any reason and you still haven't done that yet, you absolutely should do it soon, like today. So please go ahead and do that. If you do have any questions or issues with that, you can always check with me and ask for help. As I mentioned earlier, I'm not going to be around much this weekend, so if you would like to get some help, you can always send me questions. It is also possible just throughout the semester to get help from the Digital Knowledge Center, so you can go here and book an appointment with a consultant and get some help with any of the things that you're doing for this class. Pretty much anything that we do in this class is likely to be covered by one of the tutorial types. All right, so next, you need to install WordPress. So WordPress is software that lets you put content on your domain. So that's something that you should do soon. I went through a whole recommendation about how to do that and like where to install it. A couple more things I'll just kind of go back through to make sure that you're aware of. One of these is that this dashboard right here, this is Cpanel, and Cpanel has changed a little bit. So you might have noticed there's a message at the top now. It used to be that all of your websites that were installed would show up right here as thumbnails, but now you have to click on this link that says My Apps, and then that takes you to the list of all of your WordPress installations. You probably just have one installation so far, but that's where it is. You'll have to go through that to get to that. Now, once you're in the dashboard for WordPress, there's several things that I do recommend, and I went through that in a video, but basically I recommend switching the theme to something other than the defaults 2021, 2022, or 2023. Those are the free ones that come with WordPress. There's lots and lots of other free ones, so I would recommend switching to one of those and trying it out to see how it goes. In terms of plugins, I strongly recommend Akismet and WordFence, and these are things that have a few steps to set up, but they are important. And then just as you're working with WordPress, remember you're going to be making posts. So that's up here in the top left on your dashboard. It says you can access the post menu and click add new. Also, just anywhere whenever you're in the dashboard, this button at the top that says plus new, you can hover over that and then select plus new and then select post, and then that will create your new post. So this is what you do whenever you're completing a blog entry for this class, either as part of your creativity module or whatever else. Just remember, when you are ready to share it, over here on the right side where it says URL, that's what you want to send to people in Discord or submit to me in Canvas. Otherwise I can't see it. So please make sure you do submit that URL, not the one that's appearing in the address bar right now, because this is a web-based dashboard backend for your WordPress site. So only you can access this particular URL that's in the top of the actual address bar in the browser. The public URL is the one that's to the right in the editor. So make sure you share it that way. All right, so that's WordPress. Remember, we're going to be installing WordPress, but also customizing WordPress and starting to blog. That's the big thing. Okay, so those are all tasks, things that you need to have accomplished. Not necessarily, these are related to assignments, but they aren't assignments per se. There's some other things that are important that are not assignments per se, but that you should be doing. They are assignments in the sense that I ask you to do them. One of these is the article, The Web We Need to Give to Students by Audrey Waters, which gives you some of the background on the kind of thing we think UMW Domains is and the kind of value it creates for you as a student. So that's something to read, reflect, respond to. I've got some in the instructions, some discussion about that. I saw a lot of posts about that in Discord, so thanks for doing that. That's something that, you know, it's an older, at this point, this article has been out for a few years, and so it is kind of interesting to think back on it now, to almost think of this as a historical post about the origins of the UMW Domains project, and we can think about it now in maybe a different way. Oh, I just realized I'm on the small version of myself. There I am. And maybe we can think differently now in 2023 about the reasons we would want a domain or not. I still think the argument holds, but I think there are possibly different contexts for it now. Okay, so the other reading to think about, the other reading that I assigned, I guess, was Vannevar Bush's article, As We May Think, and this is available in Perusall, so that's something I talked about a bit the other day. Just two things I want to make sure you think about after you read it or as you read it. What is the Memex technology? Remember, the Memex is a hypothetical technology, so we don't have them other than, like, people have made them as, like, art projects. But, like, what is it? And then, more importantly, and this is the question any technology should be able to answer, is what problem is it supposed to solve? Like, why did Vannevar Bush think this was a good idea? Why did he come up with this idea? What is the problem he's trying to solve in 1945? And how does the Memex solve it? I guess that's the implied question between the two of those two questions there. So if you are not sure what the answers to these questions are, look at the essay again. I mean, if you haven't read it, read it. But if you have read it and you don't know the answer to these questions, read it again. Take a look at it, and it's available in Perusall, and also a couple other places. So check it out. It's an important set of concepts that are foundational to the web as we know it today. All right. So then finally, not finally, but so next, I did want you to learn about digital creativity, and this is whichever module you're working on. I do want you to learn about the other two types of digital creativity. So I've just got a couple of basic activities in there in the instructions for yesterday. One of those was this hypertext game called The Temple of No. I'll pull it up in this other browser window here. And this is a game. It's linked in the notes. It's a game by Crows, which is the studio that made the Stanley Parable, which is a very meta kind of game. And it's pretty interesting. It's a little bit, I guess, rated M for mature, but it's a pretty funny game, and it's also very much about how a Twine game can go and can work, and it's also pretty sophisticated as a Twine game. Twine is an interactive fiction platform. You use it by clicking on things, so that's what it's telling you to do here, and it's kind of taking you through this and talking about the idea of Twine. You make choices, and so if you're interested in working with Twine, you should definitely play this and kind of learn from it and see what kinds of things they've done here. If you're not interested in making your own Twine, at least try this out just for fun. It's kind of it's an interesting thing, and as you can maybe hear coming through here, it does have some audio, so that's a bit of a surprise. But let's check it out. All right. Yeah, there's a little frog sound. Okay, so I'm not going to go through the whole game here, but I do want you to. I mean, check it out, and if you have any thoughts about it, please share them in Discord. You know, that's our place to discuss things. Okay, so the next assignment related to sorry, I'm jumping around so much. Digital creativity is learn a bit about Twitter bots, and Twitter bots unfortunately are dying out or have died out. All of mine were shut down recently by Twitter, and I was unhappy about that. Not too surprised by it though. I have made a lot of creative and literary Twitter bots over the years. Some of them were very popular, but they're all shut down now, and that's too bad. But there are several that I mean, even my bots, the account is still active. It's just no longer posting. I mean, the account exists, so you can look at the tweets. So check that out. And if you use the hashtag links in the notes for yesterday, you'll be able to see those. Tiny Starfield is one that's excellent. That's still interesting to look at, even though it stopped posting. So check those out. And then also just to understand and think about digital audio a little bit, Radiolab is a podcast. There's lots of other podcasts, but I always admire the sound design and editing that goes into Radiolab. If you want if you are new to podcasts and don't know much about them, there's a lot of different styles of editing for podcasts. Radiolab is generally journalistic and science-based. They cover lots of different things too, though, but it's generally well edited and produced. If you want someone that's really elaborately produced, Snap Judgment is much more, I guess, they call it like theater for the mind. It's much more elaborate in that sense, and it's both of these are professional level kinds of things. So if you're interested in podcasting, I would say listen to these. You can aspire to the kind of craft that they're producing here. I certainly don't expect you to. I couldn't produce the craft that they are producing here. It's very high level stuff. So it's really just meant for inspiration and also just to know about. It's a good general information podcast. Radiolab has some interesting stories. They did one recently about Sci-Hub, which is a way to access articles, peer-reviewed scientific and other articles for free in a way that circumvents the publisher's way of accessing them. I'm trying not to say it's illegal, but it is illegal, but it's very useful, so they talk about it. Okay, so in terms of, those are the general things. These are all linked in the notes and instructions for yesterday. So in terms of assignments, so these are the things you have to actually make sure you turn in. So make sure you've completed the Hello World assignment. The instructions for that, of course, are you have the domain, you have a post on that domain, and you submit the link to that post. That's it, but there's a lot behind that, but those are the basic requirements. All right, the next thing is the creativity module. This one does have a bit more elaborate. I mean, the basic assumption of it is pretty straightforward, but there's several pieces to it. So let me kind of review those pieces of it really quickly here. So it's, I already had it over here, but it's several things. So 3 phases. Kind of 4 artifacts, 3 or 4 artifacts you should be producing. So at least 2 blog posts, a kind of beginning blog post, and then an ending blog post, and then a short video, 60 to 90 seconds. I'm recording this Friday morning. As long as you can complete this by Sunday, you're fine. I haven't seen any of these come through yet, so I'm a little worried, but not too worried because you do have time. So please do that this weekend or today, ideally. Again, it's a short video. If you are you don't have to appear in the video. You don't have to be producing these elaborate video essays or anything. Just talking for 60 to 90 seconds about what you learned while working on this module. That's the only thing that's the main thing I'm interested in. As far as what you submit here, so in terms of this post, this page in Canvas, please submit the blog, a link to your blog post, and then I'll look for submit a link to your final blog post, and then I will look for your video in Discord, or if you need to send it to me directly, you can email it to me. So that's the idea. Okay. And then going back to my slides, the other thing is the week 1 reflection and report. And this can also be kind of like your creativity post, but it should be something separate. And this is where you're going to tell me everything you did this week. So going back to my earlier slides, think about all of the general learning, all the specific tasks, all of the assignments, and just kind of try to summarize everything you did. You can go kind of item by item, point by point if you want to, whatever makes sense to you. You can write this as a blog post and submit a link to it. You can record a video. You can actually record yourself talking directly in Canvas if you want to do that. This is all fine. I don't have any preconceptions about the format that this takes, other than I do want the content of it to be about everything you learned this week, reflecting, summarizing, and documenting it. It's a way to help me keep you accountable in terms of what you've done, and for you to say that you are being accountable to these things. Okay, so that's it for this weekly summary, week 1 summary. We'll be hitting the ground running again next week, of course, so make sure you get all this done by Sunday. As I've said a couple times, I will not be around or available online much this weekend, but I will be back Sunday afternoon or evening, and so I should be online and able to help with things by then if you are still having any issues with things. But please try to get everything done that you can, and good luck. Let me know if I can help. Send me questions or whatever, and if I can't get to them right away, I will get to them when I can. All right, so that is my slides don't change unless I have focus on the window. Okay, so yeah, so that is my week 1 in review. I'm not going to be streaming today. This is the end of week 1, so this is all the content I'm putting out for today. Thanks for watching this video to the end, and good luck finishing things up, and have a good weekend.